Now, my name is Jojo, this is Adam and Fernando. Nobody likes them. And we work for a company called Conservation Ambassadors. We're actually based right here in California, and what it is we do at our center is being a home to rescue wildlife, either to animals that have been injured somehow and can't be set free back out into the wild. Those animals are sent to us at our center. Or other times we have a big problem, especially here in the United States, we have a problem with people trying to make pets out of wild animals. That never ever works. It's also against the law, and those animals are taken away and sent to our center as well. Then what we do is give these animals lots of love, lots of attention, and lots of food. And the animals that we can, we train to travel, going mostly to school groups, giving us a chance to share some amazing rescued wildlife up close and personal. Now, we've actually been partnering with SeaWorld for the last 29 years, and we've gotten to witness some of the amazing rescue work that they continue to do. In fact, since they first opened their gates, SeaWorld has rescued over 40,000 animals. That definitely deserves a round of applause. That is honestly incredible. So when SeaWorld asked us to come share some of our rescued wildlife with you, we were super excited to do so, and we brought some awesome animals for you guys to meet. But for this first guest, I am going to need some very brave volunteers. Let's see, how about you in the gray sweatshirt there? And how about you in the gray sweatshirt there? You guys know what my favorite color is? No, it's blue. How about you? Yeah, you can come on up. And let's say one more, you right here in the blue shirt. Yeah, come on, guys. All right. Come all the way up stage. Yeah, you're good. Everybody come stand right here, line up right in front of the table.
His name is Mario.
All right.
Mario.
Now, you can come on up too. There we go. You got all the colors in there. Here, you want to scoot down one and she'll stand right between you guys. Right up here. Put your phone in the pocket there. All right, everybody face this way. And I need you guys to put your arms out like this. All right, you guys are gonna help us hold our next guest. Her name is Julia Squeezer. She's absolutely beautiful. Check this girl out. This is Julia Squeezer, and she is the Burmese python. Now, let's get these guys all situated. Awesome, nicely done. Yeah, wrap your arms around just like that. Perfect, thank you so much. Now, we've all heard the stories, right, of these big snakes. They're sitting there in the jungle, a guy's walking through the jungle, the snake smells them, starts to chase them down, leaps out of the trees, wraps around the guy's neck, swallows and eats him. Well, is that really the way it works? No, this girl here, she's a big snake, but she can only swallow something about 5 times the size of her head. That's still pretty impressive. That would be like us trying to swallow a basketball. So instead, what she does is she'll sit there in the leaf litter, blending in perfectly with those beautiful scales of hers, and she'll sit there flicking that tongue. Now, what does she do with that tongue? Yeah, she's smelling. She sits that tongue out, she can tell exactly what's in her area. Now, let's say a prey animal walks out in front of her, she'll strike out, boom! She grabs on with over 80 very sharp, backward-facing teeth. But she's not venomous. Do you know how you can tell she's not venomous? It's because I'm holding her. But no, this girl here, she's a constrictor. So what's your name here? Aviva. Do you know what section you're holding? The squeezing section of the snake. You guys want to see how it works? All right, no, I'm kidding. No, you're holding the squeezing section. She'll wrap that around her prey, and once that prey is dead, she'll start to swallow. Then it gets pushed down to my 2 in the middle here. They're holding the stomach. That big lump will sit in her stomach for about 4 or 5 days. Then it gets pushed all the way down to my buddy on the end. What's your name? Mario. You know what section you're holding? That's the dangerous end of the snake, because that's where she goes to the bathroom. But I think we're safe, because this girl here, she only eats about once a month, only goes to the bathroom about once a month as well. Pretty amazing. All right, let's give our volunteers a hand. They did a great job. Thank you guys so much. Now, all the way back to your seats there. Awesome. Now, we got Julia Squeezer here because she was actually owned by a teacher who used her as a classroom pet. But as she approached this size, the principal decided that she didn't house her at the school anymore and that they needed to find a new home for her. So they called us and asked me to take her in, and we were happy to do so. And I would like to say that her story doesn't happen a lot, but we get a call for a big snake like this at least once a month at our center that people decide they can't take care of anymore. So I think she's absolutely beautiful. That is Julia Squeezer. Let's say goodbye to the Burmese python. And this is Wizard, one of my favorite animals on the planet. He is the turkey vulture. I love his bald head, but I hope that in 10 years I don't end up looking like him. So, turkey vultures, they get up in the morning. The first thing that they're gonna do, they're gonna spread those big wings and they're gonna start to sunbathe. It helps to warm them up. When he's feeling nice and warm, he flaps those wings, he takes flight, he takes off. He's gonna end up in the air where he starts to do these big lazy circles. Now they may look lazy, but he is actually working. He's working, he's sniffing, he's smelling for the grossest, disgusting, stinky, rotten things that he can find. That's right. And when he smells something gross that's been dead for a while, he says, lunchtime, and he flies on down to make a meal out of it. That's because vultures eat dead things. Yeah. Now most people hear that and they may think, ew, but if we're being honest with ourselves, most of us eat dead things too. Nobody's chasing a cow down the road to chew on its leg, right? Only difference is that vultures eat meat that has so much bacteria and germs that it would otherwise make us sick to our stomachs. And because they're sticking their heads into rotting meat, they have this bald head right here so that none of it gets stuck to their feathers. Now they also cool off and clean their legs in kind of a gross way. You guys want to hear how they do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they cool off and they clean their legs by peeing down them. Yeah, I heard it out there, right? Peeing down them, that's right. That's why we named him Wizard. So Wizard's been here with us for over 17 years because somebody had the nerve to shoot this big, beautiful bird in his left wing. And because bird bones are hollow, once they are broken, it's very hard for them to heal properly. And that's what happened to Wizard here. He can still fly a little bit, but not enough to survive out in the wild. Now, our next animal is also famous for flying, even though his hooves have never left the ground. So let's say goodbye to Wizard, the beautiful turkey vulture.
Yes, this is Yukon, and he is the reindeer. Now, the reindeer are actually the domesticated version of the caribou. These guys have been domesticated in northern Europe for about 7,000 years. But they are amazing animals. They actually have the second widest hoof out of all the deer species. Those wide hooves of theirs work like snowshoes, allowing them to walk through the Arctic tundras with ease. They also work like paddles, allowing these guys to even swim through rushing rivers. But I love these antlers. Look at those big bone growths. Those are the new antlers coming in for the season. See, all deer species lose their antlers every single year. Those big antlers will fall off their head as they grow and they're covered in that skin and velvet coating. Once they reach that full size, that's when they rub all that skin off. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but that's when you're left with the beautiful bone antlers that you're used to seeing. But reindeer and caribou are actually special. They're the only deer species that both males and females get the antlers. The boys, they get theirs to fight for all the girls during mating season. Pretty typical. But the females actually get theirs to protect their young. So they keep theirs a little bit later in the season. That way they have that fresh set of antlers right when the babies are being born. And those babies are up and walking within the first hour of life. Mom is right by their side the entire time. But Yukon here, he actually came to our center from a petting zoo in Missouri. See, there's a petting zoo in Missouri that decided it would be a good idea to add 3 male reindeers to their collection. Then they quickly realized reindeer do not make a good petting zoo animal. They're big, strong animals, and the males especially can be fairly dangerous during the mating season. So they called us and asked if we could give them a home. And the more that we learned about reindeer, the more fascinating they became. And if you guys watch his stomach, you actually might see it pulsing in and out and in and out. That's because they have a 4-chambered stomach like cows do. So what he'll do is he'll swallow his food, he sloshes it around in his belly, he throws it back up into his mouth, he chews it again. It's like a gross version of bubble gum. And then he swallows it back down to the next chamber. That allows him to digest almost any kind of vegetation, which is super helpful out there in the harsh tundras in the Arctic Circle.
Now, these guys were domesticated originally for a source of food, leather, and to pull sleighs. They would actually pull sleighs through the snow. But Santa, he was the only one that got him to fly. But let's say goodbye to Yukon, the reindeer.
Now this is Nova. What is she? Who? Who? I'm just kidding you guys. That's my only owl joke. This is Nova, and she is the great horned owl. Now these guys are specialized to be able to hunt and fly at night. A couple things that help them. Number one, those eyes, those magnificent, beautiful, huge, massive eyes that look straight into your soul. Now, these eyes are so strong that if it was so dark out here that we weren't able to see a single thing, she would be able to see everything just about as good as we can right now without any issues whatsoever. But there's a problem with those eyes. Those eyes are so big that they're stuck right inside of our owl's skull, looking straight forward. If she wanted to look to the left, she would have to turn her whole head to the left. If she wanted to look to the right, she would have to turn her whole head to the right. That's the first time it's ever worked out. That's why she has that amazing neck of hers right there. But it isn't like the cartoon. She just can't turn her head around and around. If she did that, her head would pop right off. What she does have are 7 extra neck bones, 14 total cervical vertebrae that allow her to turn her head 270 degrees almost all the way around one full time. Now, not only does that neck of hers help her, but she also has these amazing wings. These wings of hers are coated with something called comb feathers. These comb feathers, as she's flapping, give her the gift of silent flight. And this helps her out in a couple ways too. As she's out there looking for her food, she isn't just looking for her food, she's also listening for her food. So if while she was out there, she was going flappity flappity just like that, she couldn't hear all the mice and rats down on the forest floor. Now this also helps her out because, oh yeah, everybody, once you go home, go look up a book in the library. It's called Everybody Poops. Yeah. Anyway, that also helps her out because rats and mice, they won't hear her coming up, and she'll sneak attack and pick him right up. These guys are a super important part of the ecosystem. A bird this large can eat anywhere between 2 to 3 rodents a night. They're making sure that we don't get overrun by the rodent world. Now, Nova here, she was flying free about 12 years ago, when unfortunately she made a big mistake, decided to fly right in front of the car. Now that car tried to stop, they really did, but they unfortunately hit her, shattering her left wing. Now, they bravely scooped her up and took her to a wildlife vet that fortunately saved her life, but unfortunately, that wing of hers with those hollow bones didn't heal up enough for her to be released back out into the wild, which is why she's here with us. We love being able to share it with you, but our next animal is a predator on a completely different scale. That's Nova, the great horned owl.
Yes, this is Spike, and he is the North American alligator. Now, the first question people always ask me is, JoJo, why doesn't he bite you? And you guys know what the answer to that question is? No, Spike here, he only bites Dodger fans. Okay. Now, he's been teaching people about alligators for the last 32 years now. See, Spike was actually found in a man's home in Los Angeles. Somebody decided it would be a good idea to take Spike and keep him in their bathtub. And he was taken away in Centaur Center, and he's been helping us do educational programs ever since. Now, the alligators, they are perfectly set up for life in the swamps. Some things to help them. Number one is that nose. That nose is positioned right on top of their snout. That way they can stick just the tip of their nose out of the water, and he can breathe and works like a snorkel. Then, he's got these awesome spikes. Those spikes down his back are his protection from other alligators. Then, he's got this big, beautiful, long tail of his. That tail of his is the most well-muscled part of his body. He can pump that tail along and swim faster than a bottlenose dolphin in the waterways. Now, alligators though, they are an animal that gives me hope. These guys give me hope
because we almost lost these guys. We almost lost the North American alligator because of that side skin. See, so many alligators were killed for that skin to make boots and belts and wallets and purses out of them that we almost lost the largest reptile that we had here in the United States. But you guys know what happened? People got involved. They started protecting the alligators, they protected the alligators' habitats, and now these guys can make such a strong comeback that there are over 2 million alligators in Florida alone. They are thriving in our southern swamps. But let's say goodbye to Spike, the North American alligator. No, you say, see you later? That's how we do it.
Opossum!
And this is Pocket, the Virginia opossum. These were originally an East Coast animal, but they became widespread around the United States when the railroads were being built. Believe it or not, they were used as a food source and brought state to state. Now, Pocket here ended up with us because a long time ago, a lady was driving her car down the road and she saw a ball of fur dart across the road. Now, she tried to slow down, she tried to stop, but she accidentally hit that ball of fur. So she got out of her car, she saw that she had hit an opossum. But she was smart. She had heard somewhere that opossums are marsupials. Now, marsupials are animals that have pouches on their bellies to carry their what in? No, their lunches to school. I'm just kidding. Yes, it's to carry their babies. So she bravely reached into that pouch and realized that there were 5 little baby opossums still inside, about the size of our thumbs. So she scooped them all up and took them to a rehab center where they would have the best chance to survive again out there back in the wild. And everything was going great for a while, except for with little Pocket here, who they came to realize shortly after was almost completely blind. So Pocket was unable to be released back in the wild with his siblings, but has a home here with us. And Pocket is 3 years old. Now that may seem young, but the lifespan of an opossum is only about 3 to 4 years. But get this, in 3 to 4 years, a mama opossum can give birth to 50 babies. 50 babies, right? If I had 50 children, I'd only want to live about 3 years too. Now, Pocket is an amazing animal and North America's only marsupial. We love Pocket, but let's get ready to meet our next animal who may be one of the most iconic in all of North America. Check her out.
Come here, girlie. Hold on. Hi, girl. That's better. All right. Sorry, this girl here, she gets a little off balance sometimes, because as you can see, she is missing that left wing of hers. See, Spirit was actually on one of her very first flights out in Sitka, Alaska, when she tried to steal a fish from a fisherman. The guy didn't take kindly to that, and he actually shot her in her left wing. But this young bird managed to swim her way back to shore, where she was taken in by a raptor center out there that saved her life, but unfortunately, they couldn't save that left wing of hers. And missing that wing completely takes away her ability to fly. But like you were saying, this is one of the most inspiring and recognizable animals on this planet, but we almost lost these big birds. We almost lost the bald eagles due to a chemical that used to be used called DDT. They thought it was this miracle pesticide that people use all the time. They would even spray it on their kids, and they thought it wasn't hurting anybody. But what was happening? That chemical would get washed into the riverways, be absorbed by the fish. The eagles would then eat that fish, and the eagles themselves weren't directly hurt, but they ended up with a calcium deficiency. And that calcium deficiency resulted in them laying very soft eggs. So when the moms nest, the eggs would break, and no new generations of eagles were being born. But even after the chemicals stopped being used, the problem was still occurring. And it took the help of passionate people that would go out and watch the bald eagle nests, waiting for moms to lay their eggs. They would chase mom away right when that happened, which is not as easy as it sounds. Then they would take the soft eggs to incubate them and put fake eggs in the nest. Now, right when those babies hatched, they would take them right back to that very same nest and sprinkle some eggshells around, and it was working surprisingly well. But the best part was, those babies, they didn't have the chemical in their system anymore. They were able to reproduce on their own. So in 2007, the bald eagles were able to be taken off the endangered species list. I think that's absolutely incredible. Now, These guys are amazing animals though. She has eyesight that's 6 times better than yours or mine. She has almost 1,000 pounds per square inch of crushing power in those talons. Whenever she grabs a hold of something, you can bet it's always hers. And if she catches something too big for her to fly back to shore with, she'll actually swim it. They're amazing fishers and scavengers. Just absolutely awesome animals. That is Spirit. But brace yourselves, because our next guest comes off a little bit prickly. Check him out.
Now this spiky fella is Morocco, the African crested porcupine. Now, have you guys all heard about porcupines that shoot their quills out? Yeah? Awesome. Alright, so to show how this works, we're going to clap once on the count of 3. When we do that, it's going to send 10 to 20 quills towards the audience. So, you guys up there in the first 3 rows, cover your eyes. Are you guys ready? Yeah. Alright, 1, 2, 3. It's not working. It's okay. Okay, let's try it again. 1, 2, 3. What's going on? Do porcupines really shoot their quills? No. Their quills are just hair. It's hair that's long, sharp, stiff, and pointy. The only time these quills would ever come out is if an animal came up and touched them and got stuck on them. Now, it's not like they're spring-loaded. You can just say, fire missile 6 at will. And now porcupines can't shoot their quills, but they are amazing animals. They make up some of the most impressive rodents in the world, such as the South American prehensile-tailed porcupine. It has over 30,000 quills on its body and a grasping tail, kind of like that of a monkey. All the way up to the North American porcupine, the fuzzy tree climber with bark quills that lives right here in the US of A. But African crested porcupines, they're among my favorite to talk about. I'll tell you why. They're the biggest of the porcupines, growing upwards of 50 pounds and having quills as long as 18 inches. These guys, they scour the grasslands of Africa at night looking for anything from fruits, grasses, and roots. And if a predator comes up to them during their nightly excursions, they'll flare these quills right up so straight that they look like a sea urchin. Not only that, they have special hollow quills on their tails that they shake, warning that predator that they're a porcupine, and they make a very poking meal. And let me tell you, that defense usually works out pretty darn well. Because imagine having one of those quills stuck on your paw and your face. It's going to affect your hunting, and you're going to have all sorts of other problems. These guys truly run the savannas of Africa. Now, Mo here came to us from a Texas zoo that shut down, and they were having a bit of trouble trying to find homes for their critters. So, we took in as many animals as we could, including Mo here and 4 other porcupines 22 years ago, and he's been helping us do educational programs ever since. He's an awesome ambassador for his kind. That's Morocco, the African crested porcupine.
Now, did you guys enjoy those animals? I hope you did. I hope you guys learned something. But because we get to work with all these awesome wild animals, people tend to ask us this one question. They tend to ask us what our favorite animal is. And you guys know what my favorite animal is? It's none of the wildlife. We love the wildlife. That's why we do what we do. But my favorite animal, without question, without a doubt, is this next guest. His name is Basil, and you guys will definitely know what he is when you see him. Well, check him out. Come on out here, Basil. Yes, this is my favorite animal. I trust him, he trusts me. I know he wants to be with me. You have to know, the wild animals belong in nature where they're truly supposed to be. Now, I like to end each one of our presentations with just a few easy things that we are able to do to help protect our wild friends. Things like reducing single-use plastics and recycling, or picking up garbage and keeping the environments clean. Or if you find a sick or injured animal in the wild, call the Wildlife Rescue Center. There are literally thousands of places set up giving animals the proper care they need to hopefully get them back out to the wild. Anyways, thank you so much for coming to listen to our rescue tales and enjoy the rest of your day here at SeaWorld, everybody. Thank you very much for coming.